Light this candle for our youth. Let us behold Christ. Please join me in the blessing which is on the second page. We love you. We appreciate you. We salute the Christ in you. And we see you as shining lights unto your world. God is blessing you now. And so it is. So, together, our mission song. Let's join our voices together in that wonderful chant that rouses us to action, to vision, and to remind us what is the temple of light. For these words of our maestro, Noel Dexter, who has left us a really, really rich legacy. So now, together, let us do the prayer of our center, and may I invite you all to refer to the leaflet in the program and be upstanding as you join me. The Temple of Light, Center for Spiritual Living, is a sacred field embodying our spiritual community from which the Christ, peace, love, and joy emanate, to touch, to heal, to bless, to prosper, and to liberate anyone who comes into contact with it in any way. The light of the Christ illumines us, our center and our environment. Our spiritual community is filled with and is surrounded by the presence of God and is growing from strength to strength. The power of God expands our consciousness of truth, guiding us ceaselessly along the path of wisdom, spiritual growth, unfoldment, and attainment. We are blessed. And to God be the honor and glory forever. And so it is. Please remain standing. Time for our, and join in the praise song, which is on page 2. Sing a song. Really true. Let your heart sing. and prepare yourself for a series of affirmative prayers, the first of which sorry, will be an affirmative prayer of health. God is health. That health infills us and expresses in, through, and as each of us. We are created out of health to be the perfect manifestation of health. Health seeps through every pore of our physical bodies, through every organ, every tissue, every vessel, energizing every function and stimulating every system in perfect expression. And as it does this, it activates every idea, every image, every thought to outpicture wholeness and perfection in every area of our lives. We see health. We feel health. We speak health. And as we do, everything unlike health is eliminated from our experience. We stand firmly in the acknowledgement of who we are, the embodiment of the health, perfect God, perfect man, perfect expression. Truly, all this is indeed so. And so I release this word to the law of health for health as our very experience now, and give thanks that it is so.
So it is.
God is health, that health surrounds me. In that health I safely dwell. Peace above, beneath, within me. Health is mine, and all is well. God is health, pure health. God is health, sweet health, and that health is mine, mine, and all is well. Sweet peace, the gift of God's love. Let us know together that God is peace. Then that peace surrounds us. That peace fills our hearts with the calm knowing that there is one power and one presence operating in, through, and as us. It rests at the center of our being. And with each breath, we know that as we acknowledge its presence, we are held in a place of perfect peace, where no external appearances can disturb the calm of our soul. It is a peace which surpasses human understanding and establishes us in a place of calm confidence, where we know and declare that all is well. We walk calmly, we walk confidently on our journey in the certain knowledge that we are always sustained and directed by the Spirit of peace indwelling, no matter what the appearance. In this assurance, we live, move, and experience the peace, love, and joy of Spirit in our hearts in every aspect of our lives, from one day to the next. And so, we joyously and confidently release this word for peace
knowing that it nestles in our hearts. It strengthens us simply to be. And we give thanks now that peace is, and joyfully release this word and accept peace as our experience now, giving thanks that this is so. And so it is.
God is peace, that peace surrounds me. In that peace I safely dwell. 'Tis above, beneath, within me. Peace is mine, and all is well. God is peace, pure peace. God is peace, sweet peace. That peace is mine, mine, and all is well.
An affirmative prayer of life. Let us know together that as we acknowledge the power and presence of God, we acknowledge the power of that life that pulsates within our being. It is that which establishes us as the sons and daughters of the Most High. It is that which establishes us as co-creators with God. Co-creators such that we know that as we think and speak and vision aright, God expresses itself in, through, and as us creatively. It is that life that enables us to take our stand for truth regardless of the outward appearances. It is that life that expresses as the beauty of who we are, as the beauty of the creation in which we live, move, and have our being. It is that which allows us to appreciate that life expressing in each and every one of us, such that we know that the eyes with which we see are looking at the expressions of God everywhere around us, that life of God fully expressed. That life of God expressing now as a joy that fills our hearts, that joy that is the strength of the Lord, that joy that keeps us on the path and assures us that God is within each of us, guiding us, directing us along that perfect path of good. That life is the light that expresses in, through, and as each of us, that enables us to see, to know, to be, and to have, and to experience God in all its fullness as our lives. And so, knowing that God is indeed life, that life that fills our beings and animates us with its presence, we release this word joyously to law and accept life as our very being now. We give thanks now that this is so.
So it is.
God is life,
That life surrounds me. In that life I safely dwell. 'Tis above, beneath, within me. Life is mine, and all is well. God is life, pure life. God is life, sweet life. That life is mine, mine, and all is well.
an affirmative prayer of love. God is love, and we are its perfect expressions, created out of love, to be purveyors of love, to express that love in all our relationships, to express that love in service, to express that love as the very essence of our being. And so we know that that love is that which harmonizes. That love is that which thrills our hearts with the feeling of comfort and peace and joy as we interact with each other. That love is that which inspires us to walk this path of love, for it is the revelation that there is a kingdom of love within us. And so we revel in that love in everything that we do. We allow it to permeate our very beings, to express in all our relationships, in all our interactions and our reactions. And we just know that that love is that which we are called to be, and therefore we can joyously release it. That thought of love as that empowering essence of our being, that which is the reason for our being. And so we joyously, gladly release these thoughts of love out into the atmosphere and allow it to overwhelm us and permeate us and be us. And we give thanks now that love is, as we release this word and accept its fulfillment in our experience now. And so it is. God is love, that love surrounds me. In that love I safely dwell. This above, beneath, within me. Love is mine, and all is well. God is love, pure love. God is love, sweet love. That love is mine, mine, and all is well. And so, please turn to your programs and join me in this affirmation of divine love set out at the bottom of page 3. Together, divine love is doing its perfect work here and now. Divine love harmonizes. Divine love adjusts. Divine love prospers. Divine love foresees everything and richly provides every good thing for this church now. Divine love is now victorious, and so it is. So now, I have to share a few announcements with you, if you just allow me to unearth them for a moment. So let me now welcome you all again, as I did at the beginning, but there are people who may have joined, whether online or here. So are there any first-time visitors on this lovely wet morning? Well, we are all family, huddled together in the warmth of the love of this moment. And we're glad you came this morning, and we're glad you have joined us online. We behold the Christ in you. So our schedule for this week begins with Discovery, which occurs immediately after the service. So please join Reverend John Scott and Michael Record for Discovery at 10:30 this morning in the sanctuary and on Facebook Live. Today's topic is going to be, what do science of mind students think about reparation? Very topical. And then tomorrow morning, 6 o'clock, Quiet Moments with God. Just join Reverend John Scott and the faithful temple family on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. for what is usually a refreshing and insightful early morning start to your day. You know, it often happens to me that I wake up on a Tuesday morning or a Thursday morning, and I'm frantically looking for this thing, and then it suddenly occurred to me, oh, this is not Monday morning, this is Tuesday morning, you know, it happens. So now, on Tuesday at 6, on Facebook and on Zoom, there is our spiritual mind healing service, energizing picker-upper for the week. And our presenter this week is practitioner Carol Campbell, who usually has an insightful message. Insightful, S-I-G-H-T, and insightful to move us along. The link is sent out from our mailing list, so be sure your name is included on it. And then now, on Wednesday, we get a break, and then Thursday afternoon at 5, prayer power, an hour of communion with God in prayer, in silence, in contemplation. The Zoom link is usually sent out on Thursday morning for our mailing list, and I'd like you to know that it will start at 5 o'clock, because at 6 o'clock, we're going to have our lifeline. And so I'm going to invite you to join Reverend John Scott and practitioner Sandra Cooper for this month's conversation with our guest, Temple of Light member T.K. Dawkins, who will be speaking on winning at life, one day at a time. We look forward to seeing you on Facebook Live at 6 p.m. on Thursday, September 29. And then now for classes. You may join Reverend John on Thursdays at 11 for 2 hours. This series of classes is titled 10 Secrets for Success and Inner Peace, based on a book by Dr. Wayne Dyer, book of the same name. And then on Saturday morning from 11 to 1, Reverend John will be entering the 3rd week of a 12-week series titled The Pleasures and Perils of Public Speaking. This class provides participants with an opportunity to learn how to construct and to deliver interesting, entertaining, and informative speeches, as well as to overcome the fear of speaking. I know who should be there. Contribution for classes is $1,200 Jamaican or US $10 for registered members, and $1,600 or US $1,200 for others, and US $12, sorry, for others. And you'll hear about other classes to come as soon as those plans are finalized. So about our Sunday school now. Here's some good news. Sunday school is going to be back to resume every Sunday. So parents, please bring out your young people as of the 2nd of October at 9 o'clock for the new term. And then Temple Voices. So you enjoy singing? If you do, I'm going to invite you to add your voice to the Temple Voices in making a joyful noise unto the Lord. So please speak with Miss Angela, our musical director. She's not here this morning, but she's around during the week. And you can find her and commit to adding your voice to the choir. So now for prayer support, we continue as a ministry of prayer to respond to all our requests for prayer. And so a practitioner is always available to pray with you immediately following our service today. And Reverend Sonia Davidson is the practitioner on duty. And the number to call is 876-289-0907. And you call that same number, 876-289-0907, if you would like to speak with a minister. Anytime from Monday to Friday, from 8 till midnight. So let me remind you that we are always grateful for your donations, your tithes, your offerings, and that you may visit our page, donate.templeoflightcsl.org, which has our banking details. Thank you for your generosity and helping us to be a beacon of light in the world. So now, this is the end of the announcements for this week. Kindly join us in the singing of our first hymn, Spirit of Life Eternal, words of which are in your program on the flyer if you are in the sanctuary, and on the screen if you are online. Please be seated. Now, I didn't say this before. This is Fourth Sunday, and as you would realize, it is Practitioners Sunday. And so it is now my pleasure to call to the podium our practitioner, Jennifer Livingstone, who is this morning's speaker. Jennifer lives, moves, breathes, powers. She is a powerhouse of energy. She loves this teaching, and she allows it to permeate everything that she does. So I'm sure this morning she's coming to us with words that will, again, incite us, encourage us to be more than we can be or we seem to be. Jennifer, thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, friends, and thank you, Carol, for setting the tone for this morning's service. Let me also add my own words of welcome to all of you here in the sanctuary and to those tuned into this service on Facebook Live, and those who will join us later on YouTube. So welcome. And as you have heard Carol say, it's a nice and cozy Sunday morning. We have the sounds of rain in the background, and the backdrop is just nice and warm, and we just want to be cuddled up together. But so we're so grateful for those who have come out in this weather to be here with me this morning. And of course, for those of you who are joining me online. I want to begin this morning's message with a little experiment, so I hope you're up to it. So if you're wearing a watch or a ring, I would like for you to just remove it from the hand you're currently wearing it on and place it on your other hand. Or place the ring on another finger, and let's just leave it there for a while. Now, those of you online, whatever you have on that you want to switch around, please do. That was a loaded statement. But for most of us, myself included, we have a set routine that we follow every day. And it would probably go something like this. You wake up, spend some quiet time communing with God, and then you get started on getting dressed, eating breakfast, heading out the door, join the line of the traffic to get to work or your place of business. And for the most part, we drive the same route daily as if by autopilot. And we get to work to begin another day. We become so attached to the known that we hardly ever venture outside of this path. It is as if we're inside of a box. And because we know where the boundaries are, we feel safe. It is this attachment to the known that keeps us from creating the life we truly desire, as it is frightening at times to step into the unknown, yet that is where all new creation must take place. So if you're ready to do so, then join me as we explore stepping out into the unknown and loving it. That's the title of the talk this morning. I must admit, the basis for this talk was triggered by the series of classes that were being held on Thursday evening entitled The Art of Uncertainty, based on the book by the same name by Dr. Dennis Merritt Jones. It is a book I had read before, but going over it once more opened up fresh insights. The final class was held last Thursday, and you can imagine my surprise and absolute delight when the author himself joined us for the final class. Whoa. Yes, kudos to our two facilitators, our teachers extraordinaire, Reverend Sonia Davidson and Reverend Ann Shant. Wow. We had the opportunity to ask questions of him. And of course, pearls of wisdom were shared with us. If you missed this series, then look out for when the temple will be hosting it again, or classes on any of the other books by Dr. Dennis Merritt Jones. In the meantime, please join any of the classes currently being held. It will be well worth it. And I heard Carol share 2 classes with you, and that is my shameless plug for us all to get back to school. Yes. Right, now for those of you who really are having a difficulty keeping the watch or the ring on the opposite hand on which you have placed it, then you can switch it back. But and I see that happening in front of me. But for those of you who want to really challenge yourself this morning to go with the chain, then let's leave it there until the end of the message. How is that? Let's look at what it will take to begin this journey of stepping into the unknown. But before we begin any journey, we have to clarify exactly where we are and where we want to be. So some of the first questions we should ask ourselves is, am I living with a sense of adventure or a sense of fear? Do I feel that each day is pretty much the same as the day before? Is there a sense of resignation, like, oh well, these are the cards that life has dealt me? Or do you live in anticipation of the possibility of learning, seeing, being, or doing something new? And do you truly realize that you are living in a state of grace able to co-create your experiences by your very birthright, your connection to the divine? Well, once we have answered these initial questions, then we can begin to look at how it is we will step out into the unknown and love it. Dr. Dennis Merritt Jones, who is a prolific author and a New Thought luminary, in this book, The Art of Uncertainty, How to Live in the Mystery of Life and Love It, poses the question, and I quote, "What if we could learn how to be at peace with I don't know and embrace the possibility that the future is full of mystery, excitement, and unlimited opportunity? Would we be willing to explore this?" End quote. Dr. Jones goes on to state that in order for us to move forward on this pathway and create new experiences, we cannot keep creating from within the field of what we already know. That is, if we use only the past as our reference point, then we will find that we are only creating new versions of the same old thing. End quote. While none of us knows for sure what our future holds, we know that our consciousness is the filter through which the limitless potential of the universe flows. And therefore, what we create in the future is a direct result of what is set in our consciousness as possible today. This we know as the law of cause and effect, which Dr. Ernest Holmes, our founder of this teaching, states in our Science of Mind textbook, and I quote, "It has been proven that by thinking correctly and by a conscious mental use of the law of mind, we can cause it to do definite things for us, through us," end quote. The very act of thinking about what we are thinking about is the first step. Get in touch with the thinking that inspires every part of your life, your primary thought atmosphere. As Dr. Holmes also states, what we demonstrate today, tomorrow, and the next is not as important as the tendency which our thought is taking, the dominant attitude of our mind, end quote. Friends, the laws of nature have neither sentiment, feeling, or emotion. So too the law of mind. Like the laws of nature is always impersonal, it will respond to everyone. In seeing this law in action, I'm reminded of a mother who took her little boy to church. And while in church, the little boy said, "Mommy, I have to pee." The mother said to the little boy, "It is not appropriate to say the word pee in church. So from now on, whenever you have to pee, just tell me you have to whisper." The following Sunday, the little boy went to church with his dad, and during the service said to his father, "Daddy, I have to whisper." The father looked at him and said, "Okay, just whisper in my ear." The law of cause and effect, rightly demonstrated. My friends, author Joel Goldsmith, in his book, The Heart of Mysticism, implores us to, and I quote, "Acknowledge Christ in the midst of you, and then acknowledge Christ in the midst of all individual being, human, animal, vegetable, or mineral." He reminds us that the Christ present is within, in the weather, in the storm, is present in the weather, the stones of the ground, at the bottom of the sea, and in the very air we breathe. Therefore, we are never outside of the realm of its care, direction, protection, and love. Is it necessary then for us to know the whys and hows of everything for us to move forward in times of uncertainty? Indeed, no. If we take the decision to never leave our comfort zone, to settle for our current condition, then a vital part of us, our soul, begins to wither and die because we're not responding to this divine urge. And I'd like to share with you the thoughts of a freelance journalist, her name is Justina Bakute, in an article which she wrote back in November of 2015. And it says, "Here's the truth about stepping out of your comfort zone that no one talks about. The magic happens outside of your comfort zone, or does it? And the article reads, "It was a chilly March evening when I landed at JFK. Was it chilly though? Honestly, I don't remember. After spending 9 hours in a plane crammed with Russians, tourists and Brighton Beach locals, 30 excruciating minutes on the border, and then messing about the airport for an hour with no Wi-Fi signal, trying to find the people who were supposed to pick me up, my mind was too busy to register small things like the weather. Welcome to the United States, enjoy your stay." The jolly line pronounced with a heavy Russian accent by one of the flight attendants was echoing in my brain. She may as well have welcomed me to Mars. I couldn't have cared less. Because to me, it wasn't the destination that mattered. It was the fact that after this, my life would never be the same. Now, don't let this intimate description of my first few hours in the promised land throw you off. The details are not important here. My goal is to talk about a universal experience you and others have faced many times in the span of your lives. The experience that can be delicately fitted into the following line: magic happens outside of your comfort zone. I have to admit that stepping out of my comfortable bubble and into the unknown didn't make me less cynical than before. But there's always a but. Naturally, experiencing such a revelation made me feel the need to share it with someone. So let me convince you to take chances more often. And she goes on to say, because ultimately choosing to do something new, go somewhere new, to be someone new means to single yourself out from everything and everyone you were familiar with before. She says, being outside of your comfort zone will sometimes make you feel incredibly vulnerable because you're no longer in the know. And because you're afraid to make mistakes, even though you're doing something for the very first time. And because there are people who are much better than you at this, it makes you feel much like a dum-dum. She says, stepping in the unknown, though, will most likely make you regret it at some point, sometimes, and it will make you ponder about all the things you left behind. But it's all good. You know why? Because of all these experiences, you will get closer to understanding the real meaning of the promised magic that happens outside of your comfort zone. And then you will realize and discover about yourself along the way the fact of how many great ideas your mind can fathom in solitude, how it finds the most brilliant answers to nearly impossible problems when it's left alone to sink or swim, and the fact of how strong and enduring you actually are, how pain, fear, and doubt are just a tiny pebble on your road to happiness, and the fact of how open your heart can be to new experiences, new people, and new ways of thinking and doing. Yes, friends, magic happens outside of your comfort zone. And that's the end of that article. And I'd like to continue by saying Dr. Holmes also states in the Science of Mind textbook that nature will not let us stay in any one place too long. She will let us stay just long enough to gather the experience necessary to the unfolding and advancement of the soul. We can all take lessons then from a nestling bird when it's about to fly for the first time. It knows instinctively that it knows how to fly. And since infinite intelligence working as instinct directs the birds, this is why the eagle will literally kick its young out of the nest for it to fly. At times, we ourselves may need that nudge for us to move out, since we know that the same intelligence operating in, through, and as us knows how to support and sustain us. Yet, while we know this to be true at a conscious level, we often choose to remain in a situation, such as a relationship that is not working, or a job for which the joy and the passion has long ceased to exist. Friends, what keeps us from moving on? Is it the fear that we feel, which is often associated with a loss of some kind? For example, if we fear the loss of a title, perhaps a job title, or a reputation, then this undesired change can push us into a world of uncertainty. Joel Goldsmith, also in his book, The Heart of Mysticism, states, and I quote, "When there's no longer fear in world consciousness, there will be no wars, greed, lust, or anger, and false ambitions disappear with the disappearance of fear." End quote. Friends, everything that we could want is on the other side of fear. We must have courage to move towards what we fear. And courage is not just the absence of fear, but rather the judgment that something else is more important than fear, and that is our faith. For most of us, our tendency then is to resist change and to remain with what is familiar because we are comfortable with it. But it is only the infinite intelligence, that energy we call life, that never changes. It is only the form in which it momentarily manifests itself that changes. Therefore, the next thing to do to step into the unknown is to choose to do so. As Dr. Holmes tells us in Living the Science of Mind, we already have all the faith we will ever need. My friends, as practitioners of truth and awakened individuals, we can exercise our choice whether, as Dr. Jones in The Art of Uncertainty calls it, and I quote, mindlessly react to our fears or mindfully respond to our fears, end quote. So when we mindlessly react, we oftentimes act irrationally, allowing our minds to run away with our fears, while if we had stopped to face them and mindfully think about how we could respond, we would be more, we will see that and shed the light of truth on them. We'll see that it loses the power to scare us. Studies have shown that persons who respond rather than react are more effective communicators, better problem solvers, and overall happier people. So maybe we want to consider being responsive and not reactive. And so we're also further reminded that it is important to realize that beneath all emotions, including fear lies the authentic self, our God self, awaiting our recognition of its presence. It is for us to find ways to deepen our relationship with our authentic self. Our own founding minister, Dr. Elmer Lumsden, in one of her classes reinforced this point of being in touch with our authentic self. When she gave us this definition of fear, and she said, and I quote, "Fear is a signal that the thoughts you're thinking is of a lower vibration than who you are." My friends, we are called by the master teacher Jesus, as he taught us in Isaiah 43, verses 1 to 3. The King James Version, it says, "Fear not, for I have redeemed thee. I have called thee by thy name, thou art mine. When thou passest through the waters, I will be with thee, and through the rivers, they shall not overflow thee. When thou walkest through the fire, thou shalt not be burned, neither shall the flame kindle upon thee." And amen indeed. Despite our knowing this intuitively, though, when we are faced with the uncertainty and the "I don't know what to do and how to do it," and all of us can relate to that, of the situations in our lives, embracing change does require deep faith. And what is the deep faith? That we know how to do it and that we know we have. It says it's an inner knowing that we are connected to Spirit, which is the all power, all presence, and all wisdom that knows what to do and when to do it and how to do it in our lives and our affairs. And when we embody this depth of faith, it brings a sense of comfort and inner peace to our world. And it helps us to surrender and trust the process of change. Of course, learning to trust the process is a process. Since the unfolding of life in and of itself is a process. So, if you're not mindful, it is very easy to allow the drama in the moment to distort our view of our lives. And I can relate. Friends, ask yourself, am I willing to step into the unknown, to have a daring adventure, to trust that with God all things are possible? If your answer is yes, do you feel that way? By the way, let me throw it out to you. Vance has raised his hand. He says yes. So let me ask the question again. You're right, Sandy. It says, are you willing to step into the unknown, to have a daring adventure, to trust that with God all things are possible? Yes. Right now. Good. And I can say the same for myself because I've stepped into an unknown for the last 2 weeks and I'm going through. So let me tell you what it is that has been helping me to go through this new experience. And these are a few ideas which I had come across from Reverend Kathy Kuna of Centers for Spiritual Living from DuPage, Illinois, and that I believe will be useful for all of us to adopt if we want to keep on stepping out into the unknown and loving it. And the first thing is trust divine mind. The presence of the divine is within you, expressing as you, and this presence loves you unconditionally and forever. It created you in order that it might enjoy life by means of you. It is up to you to give spirit a good time. 2, decide on a new way. Decide within yourself on a new thought you want to think, on a new idea you want to see come through in your life. Choose an idea. 3rd, risk now. The only way to move from mediocrity to greatness is to take a risk. Risk by daring to dream big. Risk your self-imposed limitations by thinking grand thoughts. Risk changing not only what you think others think about you, but what you think about yourself. Risk thinking, doing, and being a new, improved you. Number 4, change your thinking. You change your thinking one thought at a time. Take a look at where you stop, where you step back, or where you have been unwilling to go. This is simply facing what you have believed to be true for you, what has been safe, or what gives you a sense of security. Visualize yourself succeeding beyond your previous limited ideas. This is replacing the old with the new. And then 5th, she says, face and replace. What you think about, you bring about. Where your mental energy goes is what comes into your life. Who wants less good, less health, less love, fewer opportunities to succeed? No one. So deep within every human, you has the desire to succeed in being, having, and doing the best they're capable of, even more than we can yet imagine. And finally, she says, practice, practice, practice. That is a familiar mantra for us here at the temple. This does take practice, and I am really practicing. Boy, it is simple, but not always easy. Being self-aware is much more challenging than just staying in the old rut of living a safe, boring life. And if you made it this far with the watch or ring switched, you can change it back now. You like it where it is? All right, well, enjoy it. Because in concluding, my friends, as we conclude the journey this morning, you deserve to think highly of yourself in ways that uplift and support you in your life. You are up to the challenge. Step out into the unknown and love it. And I leave you with a quote from the Buddha, which says, all that we are is the result of what we have thought. The mind is everything. What we think, we become. Namaste.
Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you for another juke to step out into the unknown. As I sat there listening to you, I remembered a talk you gave. You gave on a on a Tuesday evening many years ago, in which you related an experience in Negril, where you, I'm not sure what it was, but I guess it was swinging from one thing to the other. And whatever it was, the inspiration was to move out, to let go of something in order to experience the thrill and the joy of the moment. So stepping out, stepping out into the unknown is surrendering to that power and presence, that being that supports us, stepping out in the unknown to take advantage of the magic and the miracle that is there awaiting us. So thanks again, Mary. So this morning, our musical item is a musical item being shared by our beloved Valerie.
Thank you, Valerie, for that beautiful rendition. I radiate the love. And we feel the love this morning in here. Just this right setting, I tell you. As the raindrops continue, let us give Val another round of applause. And now I would like to invite you to please stand and join me in the prayer of Jamaica on the flyer in your program and words on screen for those of us online. Together, the radiant light of God's love is now flowing through us and from us to everything and everyone it touches. The eternal light of God's love now completely fills, covers, and surrounds our island Jamaica. The glowing intensity of the light of God's love now interpenetrates and awakens within the hearts and minds of our countrymen and women the truths of life which set free. The light of God's love is growing and glowing in intensity in the hearts and minds of mankind everywhere. Love, health, harmony, goodwill, peace, uprightness, integrity, joy, prosperity, kindness, and our oneness under God are now established. And so it is. Please join me in our second hymn selection, Life is for Living. It's on your flyer and on screen for those of us on Facebook Live.
Life is for doing.
us take our love offerings in our hands as we repeat the blessing found on the envelope and the words on screen. Together, lovingly I give, joyfully I receive. Be thou fruitful, increase and multiply. Bless, prosper, and enrich everyone whom you touch, and replenish all of my financial affairs. Thank you, Father. Thank you, Father. So it is. And for those in the sanctuary, remember to come up and drop it in the box, and those online, or donate button. And so join me in this closing affirmative prayer. We give thanks for this experience this morning, for the coming together, for the exchange of ideas, knowing that truly as we step out into the unknown, we do so loving the sense of adventure and joy that awaits us. And so I know for each person who has participated in this morning's service, that truly they are blessed. And I know for each one of them that whatever it is that they are seeking to express and to be and to become in their lives and their affairs, that it is unfolded all in right and perfect order. And so I give thanks for each other. I give thanks for all the gifts that has come into the center this morning, knowing that for each person who has allowed himself or herself to be a giver, that abundant blessings now flow into their lives in the form of increased good and greater good. And I know that these offerings now go to the spread of this teaching. I give thanks for this shared experience this morning. And as we go from this place, we take this consciousness of giving, of living life to the fullest. As we go through this week, we know for us that our pathways are made safe, secure, successful, and easy, and that all is well. I accept this, I believe this, and I know this to be the truth as I release this word to law, giving thanks that it is so, and so it is. So please join me in the peace song. Remember to join us tomorrow morning for Quiet Moments in the Garden with Reverend John Scott at 6 a.m. and again on Wednesday morning at the same time and on Fridays. But also join us this week on Tuesday when practitioner Carol Campbell will host our Spiritual Mind Healing service at 6 p.m. And then on Thursday, remember this week, Prayer Power is at 5 with Reverend Sonia Davidson, and we will be hosting our next episode of Lifeline, our monthly webinar series, and our special guest will be T.K. Dawkins, one of our temple own. So please join us at 6 p.m. Facebook Live for Lifeline. And then see you right back here on Sunday morning for another insightful morning service at 9. Thank you all for being here, and for those of you online, it was my pleasure to host you this morning. Thank you for being.